welcome to another episode of Bible Reading for Daily Living. We're having a wonderful discussion about Cain and Abel on the last episode.
Yeah.
And we'll continue the book of the Bible and see what God has to say for us today. Thank you.
So I'll be reading from chapter 6.
Okay.
Genesis chapter 6.
Genesis 6, please. Now it came to pass, when men began to multiply on the face of the earth, and daughters were born to them, that the sons of God saw the daughters of men, that they were beautiful, and they took wives for themselves of all whom they chose. And the Lord said, My spirit shall not strive with man forever, for he is indeed flesh, yet his days shall be 120 years. There were giants on the earth in those days, and also afterwards, when the sons of God came in to the daughters of men, and they bore children to them. Those were the mighty men who were of old, men of renown. When the Lord saw that the wickedness of man was great in the earth, and that every intent of the thoughts of his heart was only evil continually, and the Lord was sorry that he had made man on the earth, and he was grieved in his heart. So the Lord said, I will destroy man whom I have created from the face of the earth, both man and beast, creeping thing and birds of the air, for I am sorry that I have made them. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. This is the genealogy of Noah. Noah was a just man, perfect in his generation. Noah walked with God, and Noah begot 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. So God looked upon the earth, and indeed it was corrupt, for all flesh had corrupted their way on the earth. And God said to Noah, The end of all flesh has come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them with the earth. Make yourself an ark of gopher wood. Make rooms in the ark, and cover it inside and outside with pitch. And this is how you shall make it. The length of the ark shall be 300 cubits, with width 50 cubits, and its height 30 cubits. You shall make a window for the ark, and you shall finish it to a cubit from above, and set the door of the ark in its side. You shall make it with lower, second, and third decks. And behold, I myself am bringing flood waters on the earth to destroy from under heaven all flesh, in which is the breath of life. Everything that is in the earth shall die. But I will establish my covenant with you, and you shall go into the ark, you, your sons, your wife, and your sons' wives with you. And of every living thing of all flesh, you shall bring 2 of every sort into the ark, to keep them alive with you. They shall be male and female. Of the birds after their kind, of animals after their kind, and of every creeping thing of the earth after its kind, 2 of every kind will come to you to keep them alive. And you shall take for yourself of all food that is eaten, and you shall gather it to yourself, and it shall be food for you and for them. Thus Noah did, according to all that God commanded him, so he did. Chapter 7. Then the Lord said to Noah, Come into the ark, you and all your household, because I have seen that you are righteous before me in this generation. You shall take with you 7 each of every clean animal, a male and his female, 2 each of animals that are unclean, a male and his female, also 7 each of birds of the air, male and female, to keep the species alive on the face of all the earth. For after 7 more days, I will cause it to rain on the earth 40 days and 40 nights, and I will destroy from the face of the earth all living things that I have made. And Noah did according to all that the Lord commanded him. Now Noah was 600 years old when the flood waters were on the earth. So Noah with his sons, his wife, and his sons' wives went into the ark because of the waters of the flood. Of clean animals, of animals that are unclean, of birds, and of everything that creeps on the earth, 2 by 2, they went into the ark to Noah, male and female, as God commanded Noah. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were on the earth in the 600th year of Noah's life. In the 2nd month, the 7th day of the month, on that day, all the fountains of the great deep were broken up, and the windows of heaven were opened. And the rain was on the earth 40 days and 40 nights. On the very same day, Noah and Noah's sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, entered the ark. They and every beast after its kind, all cattle after their kind, every creeping thing that creeps on the earth after its kind, and every bird after its kind, every bird of every sort. And they went into the ark to Noah, 2 by 2 of all flesh, in which is the breath of life. So those that entered, male and female of all flesh, went in as God had commanded him, and the Lord shut him in. Now the flood was on the earth 40 days. The waters increased and lifted up the ark, and it rose high above the earth. The waters prevailed and greatly increased on the earth, and the ark moved about on the surface of the waters. And the waters prevailed exceedingly on the earth, and all the high hills under the whole heaven were covered. The waters prevailed 15 cubits upward, and the mountains were covered, and all flesh died that moved on the earth, birds and cattle and beasts, and every creeping thing that creeps on the earth, and every man. All in whose nostrils was the breath of the Spirit of life, all that was on the dry land died. So he destroyed all living things which were on the face of the ground, both man and cattle, creeping things and birds of the air. They were destroyed from the earth. Only Noah and those who were with him in the ark remained alive, and the waters prevailed on the earth 150 days. Wow. When God says a thing and he's definitely going to do it, so much to draw from these lessons, so much lessons to draw from these passages rather. And God is very intentional about the things he does. Very, very intentional about the things he does. We saw him. This same thing he said to Noah was about the same thing he said to Moses. These people are stiff-necked. When the Israelites were troubling in the wilderness, wait, let me wipe them out. I'm going to create a new seed from you. But Moses stood in the gap and was like, God, please, okay? The heathens are going to mock you, and you took them out to destroy them. But God told Noah, I'm going to wipe out the whole earth. Well, he didn't have to start asking God questions. He just obeyed.
Exactly.
He just obeyed, And sometimes when you read these things, they look like impossible, but God's word is true. The whole earth covered with water. And God did not come back to create Mount Everest. I hope we know that. So Mount Everest was also covered by the flood that time. And you can now imagine
the depth of the water. Like the sea was already deep.
Okay.
Do you get? Like the depth of the sea was deep. Then for 150 days, he broke every channel that water could come out of, and it flooded the whole earth to the point there was no place to run. So if there was Mount Everest, probably people would have gone to stand. So it covered the whole earth.
And a lot of people don't believe there is a God.
And people are still joking.
I was, when we were speaking earlier about Noah, we said Noah was special.
Yes.
And we look at it again in this chapter, we see that he was the one God chose.
Yes.
To save. But I penned down something. He said those animals came in twos to him.
They came to him. Yeah.
So I'm wondering, he didn't have to go for them because you know how your imaginations just go out, like even the lions and all that, all those things. But they came to him. And it now takes us back to how we talked about sin, how sin kept growing
Exactly.
from Cain. And it got to a point where God could not stand it anymore and said, look, I must wipe out these people. This is beyond,
Repair.
beyond repair. And in order to, still save mankind. If God could have just decided to, let me just wipe off everybody. But he still kept Noah, his children, the wives, and those animals he created.
Yeah.
So God couldn't have just allowed his work, his finished work, to just go like that. It still shows how merciful he is. And it was so intentional. We kept talking about how the intentionality of God from creation.
Yeah.
And when he told Noah, I said, this ark, this is how you will build it.
Precision.
Do it this way. Do it this way. He was so precise about it. So when we look at God, we look at him from a place of perfection. Like
Yes.
we just throw a salute. Like
And then it gives that notion that there's nothing confusing about God.
no.
He's straight. Pastor Delvan will usually say that if there's a crooked stick, just to prove that this stick is crooked, you don't need to talk. Just put a straight stick beside it. And then when we see the works of God, that intentionality, that consistency, that accuracy, that I know what I am doing. And then he always warns man.
Always.
Always warns man. But I don't like when sin came in, it's as if, sometimes maybe science or scientific movies, maybe they're the ones that can really explain this. It's like maybe when there's Transformer, right? And then there's this surge that is like, okay, this thing, we need to get into that square hole. And then when they put it in that square hole, there's this light, boom. And then the whole earth goes back to sanity. But when the bad guys, I'm just trying to use movie, when the bad guy takes that whatever that was supposed to be plugged into that place, then there's chaos. Then you have crazy, ugly looking animals eating everybody up. So it felt like when Eve took of that tree that she was not supposed to, everything was just falling backwards, like just going skyrocketing backwards. And then it was only Jesus that could. But for the mercy of God, even because I feel like if God had left man alone to sin and what sin was supposed to do, so Jesus brought salvation, but God has you always see his finger of mercy from the beginning. From the beginning. You will always see that finger even up until the cross, that everybody could now say, oh, I believe I am saved. But up until that moment, you could see his love, you could see his mercy, because it was still his mercy that kept people like Joseph, that kept people like Daniel. Because this is in the Old Testament. So people say, oh, we're waiting till the New Testament. He was still there. His spirit was still speaking to people.
Definitely.
He still had that longing to be with man. And that's why he could still come to meet Noah and say, oh, create it this way.
Yes.
Because he knew this was what was going to stand the test of the flood.
Yes.
And it's just beautiful to see that he's always loved man.
Exactly.
He's always
That's
loved
what I
man.
wanted to
He's
pray.
always there's no end to his love. His love is everlasting. It's unconditional. Human beings will just throw people away. Like I'll write them off.
Yes.
After they do something that is unimaginable or out of place. But God, I guess that's why he's just God.
That's why
He's God.
he loves us.
So
That's why
we
he's
just
God.
need to keep
by
reading our
himself.
Bibles to know this God for ourselves. He's big, he's merciful, he's kind, he's loving. I just want to thank you for joining us on this show. Please keep coming back for more. The Bible is interesting. It's not boring.
Very interesting.
You just need to keep reading and it to come alive the way. See,
Yes,
like
great
I don't
man.
even want us to stop. So we'll continue on our next episode. Thank you so much.
Thank
Thank you.
you.